The city of Denver and the Salvation Army knew about the danger at a family homeless shelter where a girl fell from the 7th story.
What we're doing today is making a permanent solution where we're putting in bolts that can't be manipulated.
An outside investigation finds a culture of fear and mismanagement led to the CBI DNA scandal. Conservatives in Colorado asked President Trump to rename what long was Mount Evans before that name was stripped over former Governor Evans's ties to the Sand Creek Massacre. And Colorado is trying to cover its ash.
We have about 330,000 ash trees at risk.
Other cities in Colorado have fought this pest to a draw. That's tonight on Next. The family homeless shelter in Denver, where a girl fell from a 7th-story ledge yesterday, had a known issue with that particular danger. The shelter had warnings up telling people not to open sliding glass doors onto what used to be balconies. As that 11-year-old recovers from her injuries, the city is trying to better lock down those doors to keep it from happening again. Our Marshall Zellinger joins us now to show us what exactly happened. Marshall?
Kyle, the shelter is a former 7-story hotel in southeast Denver, and it has sliding glass doors similar to the ones that we have here in our edit bays that go to unprotected balconies. And those doors are not supposed to be open beyond this. It's not a great design to have sliding glass doors lead to a balcony with no wall or bars or protection. This Denver shelter near Hamden and Tamarack in southeast Denver used to be an Embassy Suites that 14 years ago had balconies with barriers. Mayor Mike Johnston said at a meeting with City Council this morning that when the city bought the hotel to turn it into a shelter, the balconies did not have barriers and the sliding glass doors were locked shut.
When we acquired it, we shored up the locks. We also put notices on every window in both English and Spanish saying, do not open these sliding doors.
Here's a photo of one of those notices. It says in English and Spanish, do not open. Opening patio door will be an immediate discharge. From the outside, you can see white squares that appear to be the stickers on each door. On Monday, one of the doors was open on the top floor, and an 11-year-old girl fell to the 2nd floor roof below. A spokeswoman for the Salvation Army, which operates the shelter, said the girl is expected to be released from the hospital soon.
We had some folks who broke off the locks on those systems and opened the doors even against our guidance. With the child that fell out was that was a room where they had broken off the lock that we had put in.
According to the Salvation Army, residents have to sign a form saying they won't tamper with the window locks. The city said when new families get assigned a room, the window locks are checked and tightened. The head of the city's general services said today those locks are being changed.
What we're doing today is making a permanent solution where we're putting in bolts that can't be manipulated with Phillips or regular screwdrivers that you can buy at the store.
These rivets are being installed to allow the sliding glass doors to open 4 inches for ventilation.
They've now found a new brand of lock that is not manipulable. It cannot be removed by any amount of amateur effort.
So the doors that aren't supposed to be open beyond this, that could be overridden to be open to about here, will now officially still be allowed to be opened, I guess, but to, I'd say, about here. Kyle, a spokeswoman with the Salvation Army, told us in a statement that they have regularly voiced concerns about this safety issue with city leaders. We asked the Salvation Army for documentation, emails, letters, phone records, anything that showed what and when that was voiced. Salvation Army either could not or would not provide that to us.
Well, that seems like a pretty important distinction, Marshall, because either they could provide evidence that they have raised this issue with the city, or there's no evidence, right? That would be an important thing to put before the public, because as we're trying to figure out how did this, easily anticipated incident happen, we want to know the backstory.
We know there's a bit of a beef between the Salvation Army and the city of Denver, but let's just say this. If there were concerns raised about this by the Salvation Army, why wouldn't you want the public to see what you said and when you were saying it?
Let's see it. All right, Marshall Zellinger, appreciate the demonstration. Thank you. A new report details layers of dysfunction at the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. It found that the forensic unit, where a now disgraced analyst was working, was poorly managed and had a culture based on fear. An audit and assessment from an independent consulting firm was done after high-profile DNA analyst Missy Woods got caught manipulating data in hundreds of criminal cases. She testified as an expert in court more than 500 times. She's now facing 100-plus criminal charges. The report blames previous leadership at CBI, said they failed to properly address staff warnings and allegations of misconduct. The report laid out dozens of recommendations, including moving the Forensic Services Division out of CBI and making it a standalone agency. The head of the state's Department of Public Safety didn't commit to that, but said they're working on building trust.
This is our opportunity to rebuild trust. It's our opportunity to get ahead of this, and it's our opportunity to create a lab system that is beyond reproach. Whether or not this becomes a standalone division, we're going to continue this work and strive to this excellence anyway.
Discussions have already started about legislation that could be introduced in 2026 to create a standalone forensic lab. It's not clear what that would look like, how long it would take to stand it up. Missy Woods and her criminal cases are due back in court next month. The Supreme Court cleared the way today for President Trump to continue the mass firings of federal employees. The conservative majority on that court has handed win after win to Trump lately, lifting lower courts' temporary freezes on Trump's executive orders. The unsigned order out of the Supreme Court says that the court did not consider the legality of specific job cuts. Instead, they were ruling on the legality of the executive order issued by Trump and the administration directive for agencies to drastically reduce their workforce. The Trump administration is not saying how many federal workers it's getting rid of. We do know that tens of thousands of federal workers have either been fired, resigned, or placed on leave. Hasn't even been 2 years since Mount Evans was renamed Mount Blue Sky. Conservative groups in Colorado are now asking President Trump to intervene and to restore the name of the former governor who had ties to the Sand Creek massacre of women and children. Our Mark Salinger has that.
Welcome to the Mount Blue Sky Scenic Byway, which takes you up this road to the Mount Evans Wilderness behind me, all the way up to the top of Mount Blue Sky. While the name of the mountain changed a couple of years ago, some of the names around it didn't. Now there's a push by conservatives in Colorado, while Trump is president, to change all the names back to Mount Evans. Back in 2023, former Governor John Evans' name was removed after a push by Native tribes and an inquiry by the Colorado Geographic Naming Advisory Board. The conservative group Advanced Colorado filed a petition last week to President Trump to change it back. They argue Evans had no involvement in the Sand Creek massacre, and the push to remove his name from the mountain was part of a woke movement.
Not only did he orchestrate the massacre at Sand Creek, but he also passed bills, laws that said it was lawful to kill Cheyenne, Arapaho, or any Indian at that time.
Back in 2023, we spoke with Reggie Wasana, governor of the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes. He helped lead the charge to remove Evans' name and rename it in honor of Native tribes.
We shouldn't put him on a pedestal for something that he did that was such a shameful act in America's history.
There's precedent under Trump of renaming mountains back to names that have previously been changed. Earlier this year, the president issued an executive order changing the name of Denali in Alaska back to Mount McKinley, though the national park there is still Denali. All the signs that used to point people towards Mount Evans were replaced in 2023 with Mount Blue Sky signs. CDOT says it cost about $55,000. And no, the old signs couldn't just be put back up. They've already been recycled. This mountain is now caught in the middle of a political tug of war. One side will tell you that changing the name 2 years ago was part of the woke movement targeting American hero John Evans. The other side will say that the former governor was directly involved in the Sand Creek massacre. Now with a new president, the name of Mount Blue Sky could change once again. So Trump signed an executive order his first day in office titled Restoring Names That Honor American Greatness. Advanced Colorado wants Trump to use that and executive power to change the name of the mountain back to Mount Evans, going around the U.S. Board on Geographic Names, which approved the name of Mount Blue Sky, voting 15-1 in 2023, Kyle.
And Mark, they've got an idea of where they should put the name Mount Blue Sky.
Yeah, they say don't get rid of Mount Blue Sky completely. They just say rename Mount Democrat Mount Blue Sky, because they say that Mount Democrat has ties to slavery in the Lincoln era. Again, who knows if this will happen, but under this new Trump administration, it certainly has more power and potential for it to become a reality.
It certainly is interesting to watch how Trump has changed Colorado politics. Because like you look at Advanced Colorado, these were formerly serious people who are now doing trolling as public policy. knowing that they might just get it through. All right, Mark Salinger, thank you. A Democrat running in Colorado's most closely contested congressional district just got busted using a photo of Canadian mountains in place of Colorado mountains on his social media. It is the biggest development in that race since last week, when the Republican incumbent voted to cut about $1 trillion in funding from Medicaid and other health programs. Democrat Manny Rutnell was caught using a photo of Canadian mountains instead of Colorado mountains on his social media account. The conservative media outlet that spotted it wrote, quote, "Not sure how many Coloradans live there. We do know how many Coloradans living in the 8th Congressional District are on Medicaid. About 200,000, or 1 in 3 people in Republican Rep. Gabe Evans' district. Evans just voted for the budget plan that cuts nearly $1 trillion from Medicaid and other health spending." The National Republican Congressional Committee mocked Rutnell's photo error, saying, quote, "He can't even tell the difference between Canada and Colorado. One difference between Canada and Colorado is health care. In Canada, health care is universal. In Colorado, the independent health policy group KFF estimates that almost 200,000 Coloradans could lose their health coverage as a result of the Medicaid cuts Evans supported." With 16 months until the midterms, we will be watching closely to see whether Manny Rutnell's photo error or Representative Evans' vote to cut Medicaid impacts that race. A judge is allowing Thornton's pipe dream to move forward over the opposition of environmental activists. And Denver is worried about a bunch of ash holes showing up all over the city. That's next. The CDC is calling off the emergency response to a highly contagious strain of avian flu because there's been months without any reported human cases around the country. Since 2022, the virus has affected nearly 175 million birds, including commercial flocks and wild birds. The avian flu decimated flocks in Colorado last year, even crossed into dairy cattle and some farm workers. At the beginning of this year, the USDA estimated 9.7 million birds in Colorado had been killed. Farmers offed entire flocks to try and deal with the virus. Colorado's health department also tracked 10 human cases since May of last year here. All were farm workers directly exposed to infected cattle. The federal emergency response has been going on since April of last year. It allowed for extra staffing, extra resources if there were outbreaks. The CDC says it will continue its regular surveillance in case cases pop back up again. A state judge has handed a loss to environmental activists, ruling that the city of Thornton can move forward with plans to bring a water pipeline through Larimer County. This is a situation we've been following for years. Larimer County controls the missing piece of a $485 million pipeline project connecting the Poudre River to water treatment in Adams County. Thornton argues the pipeline is crucial to fulfilling their water rights and getting more water for that city's rapidly growing population. Larimer County approved a permit for the initial 27 miles of the pipeline last year. A nonprofit called Save the Poudre, which has challenged several water projects in Colorado, wanted the court to overturn the permit. The judge ruled that the group never proved that Larimer County did anything wrong.
And talking about water, not much coming out of the clouds over Colorado today. Instead, damaging, dangerous thunderstorm wind gusts to 50, 60, almost 70 miles per hour. A lot of wind, a lot of lightning from these microburst storms that we saw yesterday. And the air quality, not great. Wanted to tell you there is an air quality alert in effect through 4 o'clock tomorrow for high levels of ground ozone. It looks so pretty out there, I know. Temperatures today soared into the mid-90s. We're headed into the triple digits tomorrow. Still monitoring the wind, and some of this has to do with those gusty thunderstorms tracking from the northwest to the east and southeast. We do have one severe thunderstorm just south of Sterling. A lot of lightning, a lot of wind, and that's mainly what we've been seeing. More than hail, even though the potential is there, and these storms are tracking toward the southeast. So Flagler, Burlington, and Ray, be on the lookout. This little cell is headed your way, and that is a hail signature over the town of Akron and Yuma. Really, the big story is the heat dome coming in. Storm track goes north. National Weather Service putting out a heat advisory for tomorrow, and we are issuing a weather impact alert. Temperatures this evening will stay mild and won't get all that cool. We're jumping right into the upper 90s. If we hit 100, that would tie the record for the date. We're still warm Thursday, and finally some relief Friday, low 80s with rain from thunderstorms. Then back to sunshine and 90s by the time we get to Sunday and we kick off the start of next week.
If you think I'm a bore, Denver is preparing for a bore that has caused huge trouble in other cities. Foresters are trying to step in before that happens. We would invite you to watch Next streaming each night, 6 p.m. on 9 News Plus. If that is easier or more convenient for you, it's free, you know. And Next is now a podcast, wherever you get those. If you own an ash tree, you should watch out for the signs. The squiggly little lines that let you know a small pest is tearing your tree a new ash hole. After years of warnings and preparations, Denver says the ash borer is now here in a city with 1.5 million ash trees.
There's about 1.45 million ash trees in the Denver metro area. We have about 330,000 ash trees at risk in Denver proper. My name is Luke Killoran. I am Denver City Forester. A couple weeks ago in Congress Park, the Office of the City Forester inspection staff confirmed and verified the presence of the emerald ash borer in Denver proper. We've been helping educate the public on what the emerald ash borer is and how to create a plan to protect your trees. This is an adult emerald ash borer. You can tell from its metallic green coat, it focuses and feeds directly on ash trees only. And you can see what are called galleries, where the larvae have been consuming and eating the vascular system of the ash tree. What happens is the bug itself lands on a tree, lays its eggs, the eggs hatch underneath the bark, the larva consumes the vascular system, and that's essentially what kills the tree. Back in 2012, 2013, when Colorado first identified and confirmed the emerald ash borer, Denver was very proactive in creating what's called our Be a Smart Ash program. Our Be a Smart Ash program provides free trees for residents across the community. We have about a 16% canopy in Denver as a community, and we're working to grow that, and we need all of our residents' help. So participating in Be Our Smart Ash program helps diversify our community, it helps install new trees, it helps reduce the urban heat island effect, it provides shade for our community. We are recommending if you have an ash tree and you want to keep it, to protect it, you treat it. So we're encouraging residents to work with licensed, insured tree companies, ISA certified arborists, to create a plan for your tree specifically and how to protect it for years to come. There are plenty of ash trees across the community that still have a full canopy, that are full of leaves, that are worth protecting and saving. And if you have an ash tree, we're encouraging residents to treat their trees.
Boulder detected the first ash borer infestation in Colorado in 2013. Then the city spent the next decade trying to manage the spread. Boulder removed 3,500 public ash trees between 2013 and 2024. And in that time, city foresters have replanted more than 4,700 other trees. They're trying to add more diversity to the canopy, not just replacing ash trees. Boulder estimates the response cost the city $1.7 million. The Colorado Forest Service thinks that ash trees make up about 15% of Colorado's urban canopy. Back in 2016, the Forest Service estimated that a metro-wide infestation of the borer could have an economic impact of as much as $82 million. We've got one of those ashes at our house, Marilyn.
You do?
I've been treating it.
Treat it?
I'm holding on to my ash with both hands.
All right.
It's the only way to do it. Back with feedback next. Text feedback about the girl's fall from the 7th story of a family homeless shelter in Denver. Salvation Army turning over evidence about Denver would be like cutting the hand that feeds you. Well, those hands have been in a slap fight for some time now. Bottom line is, public needs to know if the city of Denver was warned about the danger and didn't act. Eric says, my dad was a TV anchor in San Francisco. He was interviewing a visiting circus clown in studio. Right before the interview started, clown informed him that clowns aren't allowed to talk. It's a reference to our audioless show yesterday. I don't have that problem covering politics. Clowns I cover talk.